If you're new around here, I'm building an app called HeirLight. It's an estate planning app, think will, end of life documents, and all these things. I'm building this because of a conversation with my mom that inspired the work on this app. And while building this app, we've been running some ads on Meta. And one of the comments that came back recently is that we're preying on people's grief, which got me really curious and frankly a little bit defensive about how we're approaching reaching people. Because the truth is that the people who need this app are either aging, aging, or watching someone around them get older. And those are exactly the kind of people we're trying to meet. But in that, I also need to draw a line of how far do we go in the messaging so that it doesn't come off too predatory. So lots to think about. Anyways, it's Saturday here in LA. It's a kind of a rare gloomy day here. We had lunch at home with the family and I'm back here at WeWork to try to get some work done. This is going to be slightly different of a vlog. I know we've had a few travel vlogs, so we're going to have one of these where it's more me giving you, whoever is watching, an update about the state that we launches, some ad things that I'm thinking about, as well as actually some user insight that will determine, the product of direction and how we change up some of the things. But before that, let's grab some coffee. So my best friend Bobby flew in this week and I haven't seen him since almost 2 years ago. And we got some Roscoe's, got some tacos and hung out with him and his wife Megan. It was really nice. Also this week, my dad came back from Malaysia. It's been nice having my dad back home because I don't see him that often, even though technically we live in the same place. If you guys have been following around this vlog, we live in the same city, but we take turns taking care of my grandma in Malaysia. And so he just finished his turn where I left in December, about 4.5 months ago. And so it's nice to have him back. Also on the weekends, WeWork doesn't have coffee because they shut off all the coffee machine. So here I am using a drip coffee that my friend Midi and Yvonne gave me. Okay, let's talk about HeirLight real quick. So we've launched Oklahoma, Texas, Florida, New York, Illinois, and there's one state I'm forgetting here. But I think at the end of the day, where we are now is that we've proven to ourselves that we can drive traffic at a reasonable price to us. So between, all the podcasting that I've been doing and Meta, as well as a bunch of cold outreach and some distribution channels, I'm not ready to discuss because numbers aren't really solidified yet, but we know now that about 100 people that come into our landing page ends up being about 10 people who are going through our demo. And out of those 10, our goal is to convert about 3 of them into paid customers. So we use this app called Post Talk to track, and it's no industry secret here. It's a pretty well-known thing in most startups' tech stack because you really got to track all these things to know, why are people dropping off and why aren't they going through the paywall, for example. So one of the things that we learned is that a lot of people drop off in 2 questions. And these 2 questions, one of them is if they have a kid or they have a pet, who will take care of their kid and pet for if they're gone, right? And that's actually a huge insight that I got from hanging out with my best friend a few days ago is, when we talk about like making his trust, and we realized that this question paralyzed a lot of people. And the data shows, the data shows that a lot of people, when they're coming to our app and they're getting to this question, they just skip because I suppose if you really think about it, the challenge here is that it is a very difficult question to answer. And that is a great insight that we have now that we can use to drive some product decisions. Maybe we'll build out some ways to help people make decisions better, or maybe we'll put this question a little bit towards the end when we help our users walk through some of these things to warm up their mind and their mood about creating these documents that ends up reflecting things that are the most important to them. So all that to say though, there's still the business reality. Even though this entire thing is so human, there is still a business reality that we have to answer to ourselves, which is for every dollar that we put into running ads, how much of that are we returning? And to be honest, right now, the answer is for every dollar that we're putting in, we're probably returning 10 cents. because our conversion rate is so low. But the good news is like we are able to drive traffic, whether it's like high intent or low intent traffic, we're able to drive traffic to the app, which is giving us very valuable data in terms of, how many people drop off at what categories of questions, as well as for the people who come in, I actually been reaching out to a lot of them to ask them if they're willing to talk to me, and we've only gotten a few so far. So I'd like to hear from you guys. If you're watching this and you're using the HeirLight app, I'd love to hear from you. So yeah, that's like the business reality of it. Something else we also made a huge adjustment in the past few weeks is somebody told me like 2 weeks ago that if we take all our ads and put them side by side with all our competitors and we just swap out our logo, would somebody even be able to tell the difference between us? And one of the things we realized is that people come into our app and by the time they get to the paywall, we haven't done enough to convince them either that this is something right for them, that they're when they come in, we assume that they are problem aware, which is they know that they need to have an estate plan, that they're solution aware because obviously they know about us. So either that they're not high enough intent, or they don't trust us, or they don't see that this product is good, or maybe our offer is not strong enough, be it price or be it the guarantee or the discount, whatever the offer is at the end. We built out this new onboarding flow with the hope of walking through a storyline, right? And by the way, Bob is my Starbucks name because Jermaine is too hard. And we want to walk user through a journey, explaining to them how this app helps customize or personalize everything they want, and the output is something that is specific to their state. And we don't take their attention lightly. Like if you come into our app, one, we're very grateful to even have the chance to like sell you on using our app because we pour our hearts and soul into it. And two, like we don't take it for granted that just because we built something we're proud of that people should use it. They have to see the value in it. They have to feel like we understand their needs. And I guess that's the cool thing about building something in 2026 is that there's a lot of insights that we can use. But I'm gonna go back to work now. It's 5 p.m. on a Saturday, and I wanna make sure I knock out some stuff because this upcoming week I'm actually traveling to multiple states. Not gonna lie, I am sometimes struggling to have the motivation to do these vlogs because at the end of the day, we need to answer the question of who cares? Who cares about this video, this startup, the content, all the things that we put out there? And it's also a really fine balance of like me spending all my energy building and working on all this stuff that has high leverage and continue to making these vlogs where I'm like trying to put a lot of effort into it, but oftentimes it feels like it isn't the most high leverage thing I can do with my time. So then I don't give it all that I've got to make sure these vlogs are really good. I think the hard thing about these vlogs are also that I don't love how I look all the time, and I need to just remind myself that nobody cares how I look. Like we're all relatable to somebody, and me 5 years ago watching someone building and just putting themselves out there is probably very inspiring because that's the kind of content that I consume. But then, I have to motivate myself to make these all the time. And being so awkward staring into a camera on a Saturday in an empty office where there's nobody else here. So that's it. Thank you for watching to this point. If you are watching, please like and subscribe. Giving a shout out to my 2 editors. Guys, keep this in there. Thank you, Toby and Rex. And yep, see you guys at the next one.